Hello guys, it's Metal Mohan here, back with another album review. It's been a little while since we've done one of these, so I thought we'd jump back in. Today we're looking at the new Times of Grace album. It's the second studio album from the guys, and it's the first from them in over 10 years after the amazing debut Hymn of a Broken Man, which came out back in 2011. And of course, this is the side project that's featuring Adam D and Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. So it opens up with the Burden of Belief, which is the first single that they released. And it starts off with, sound of waves in the background with soft guitar. It sets the tone beautifully, alongside soft vocals from Jesse Leach, followed by accompanying vocals from Adam. And it's a nice way, kind of a somber way to start off the album. Following that, it goes into a track called Mend You. So that's another soft track with melodic vocals from Jesse, with a slight aggressive ending, and that actually ties it in very nicely to track 3. Track 3 being called Rescue, and this one sounds very much like a typical metalcore style that you'd expect from the duo at this stage. So it's fast, it's heavy, with harsh vocals in the verse and a beautiful open melodic chorus, with Jesse belting out, I will rescue you. It's really, really good, one of the strongest ones on the album. And then following that, it goes into Far From Heavenless. So this brings back the softer approach with that sort of soft, clean guitar and low, clean vocals. So this one's a very soulful one. It builds up slowly with the aggression coming in a bit later on down the line. And it has a bit of a dynamic in terms of when it gets quite aggressive, it goes to, who deserves salvation and damnation type dynamic, and it ends quite chaotically as well. And then following that, it goes into a track called Bleed Me. So Adam D's turn on vocals this time. This one reminded me a lot of Nirvana's Something in the Way. So if you're familiar with that track, that very much like post-grunge, very eerie, somber, quiet type track. It's very similar, 2 or 3 chords with clean guitar and very low, clean vocals. It's very similar to that track. That's what immediately kind of came to mind. And it ends with Adam D singing I Need You, in quite a desperate way. And then it has a dial tone, like when you're calling out somebody. It's just that leaves with, he's trying to call somebody. And then it goes straight to, please leave a message, which shows that, he is in desperate need of trying to get in touch with somebody in his time of need, and he can't get hold of them. So it really paints a picture of someone in desperate need, and that person that you rely on not being there. So it's quite an overwhelming track. It's very emotional, very open, very bare, and it's definitely one that you can tell Adam's really pouring a lot, and you can tell he's coming from, a genuine place of hurt and of need. So yeah, that was a really intriguing one to listen to. Then it follows on with a track called Medusa. So this starts again with low-tuned, clean, eerie sort of sounding guitar, very low-tuned. Then it comes in with the heavier guitar and some pinch harmonics for added effect, which of course is one of Adam D's signature sounds at this stage. And it has a bit of a watery effect on Jesse's clean vocals, so it sounds really cool for the theme of Medusa. Obviously, the snake-headed Gorgon, as the myth goes. A funny story, I actually played Perseus in my school year 2 play, so I had to chop off Medusa's head, so it's always a story that's very much embedded in my mind in terms of Medusa turning people into stone if you look directly into our eyes. But here they kind of have a bit of, wordplay in terms of, turning the heart to stone, and being turned cold, so very much, in terms of emotions and feelings being turned to stone, getting, turned cold. And then basically Jesse screaming, you won't kill the love in me. So basically saying, using it metaphorically in terms of Medusa turning people to stone, rather than turning your feelings to stone, and you can't, you're not going to defeat me in that respect, and my empathy will always be there. Following on from that, it's a track called Currents. So Adam D here, he shows off some really good singing on this one. Some falsetto comes into play as well. It might be one of the slightly weaker tracks on the album. It was one that I found after giving the album a good few spins, it was the one that I was kind of not really gearing towards that much. But after that, it goes to a song called Carry the Weight, which is a bit of a slower vibe. So this one, it's a beautiful, clean, melancholic vocal from Jesse. It really takes you into another universe, this one. You can feel the authenticity in his performance. The vocals really shine on this track. You know, it almost brings a tear to the eye of how beautiful Jesse's vocal performance is on this whole album, and it has been for the last few years. Just hearing Jesse improve album after album is absolutely amazing, and you can tell Jesse is full of empathy in this track, and he's a very genuine guy. I was lucky enough to meet Jesse a little while ago when he was over here in the UK, and you know, had a bit of a chat with him about things like mental health and, you know, empathy, racism, things like that. He's just a very open and honest dude. Like, what you see is what you get with him. And that definitely, that authenticity comes through a lot on this album with both Adam and Jesse. They really kind of, you know, put their heart on their sleeves. And then following that, it's a track called Cold, which is an acoustic soft start with clean emotional vocals from Adam D on this one. It's a very slow, beautiful song, and it's really nice to see Adam on lead vocal duty. It's very much like a rock ballad type track. And then following that, I believe it's the final track, which is called Forever, which is low, dirty, clean guitar with what it can describe as sort of whale type sounds, Gojira-esque, I suppose, in the background. And then Adam takes the initial vocal duties once again, harmonised vocals with Jesse and Adam, and then it ends with harsh vocals from Jesse, with Jesse, you know, screaming things like "True love is forever, I am nothing without you," you know. Very typical heartfelt lyrics, open and very vulnerable as well. So yeah, it's really good to hear Times of Grace after, you know, 10 years since the debut. It's a very solid effort. I wouldn't say it hits as hard as the debut, but the scenario around the debut with, you know, Adam being in hospital with back injury, and that was prior to Jesse being in Killswitch Engage as well, so the initial album held a lot more weight in terms of that. And it was also probably the catalyst for Jesse rejoining Killswitch as well. But saying that, this holds its own weight on its own. It's definitely worth checking out. The dynamic between Jesse and Adam is just flawless. They just have something very magical when they work together, whichever project it is. And it's really great to hear them try different styles on this project. I think Times of Grace gives them a bit more flexibility to try things which are kind of outside of that normal metalcore bracket that they fall into. So I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10. Definitely would recommend this for fans of Killswitch Engage, obviously. Times of Grace, if you heard it before. You know, anything metal, southern rock, post-grunge, metalcore, that kind of thing. You'll definitely enjoy this album. It's a solid listen, and I'd highly recommend it. So yeah, 8 out of 10 I'd give that. And yeah, just want to thank you for tuning in. Be keen to hear your thoughts as well if you checked out the album, what you like about it, what you don't like, if there are any particular tracks you like, etc. It'd be really cool to hear what you think. Yeah, drop a like if you enjoyed it, and also drop a subscribe to stay in touch with more rock and metal things, reviews, guitar covers, that kind of thing. And yeah, thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.